welcome to a journey into one of the most baffling and chilling phenomena of the human mind. A place where life and death blur, where consciousness itself is questioned, and where some people truly believe they are no longer alive. Imagine waking up and feeling as if your body, your soul, your very existence has vanished, that you are dead. Not metaphorically, but in the deepest, most terrifying sense of the word. This is not a scene from a horror movie or a surreal dream. This is Cotard Syndrome, a rare and mysterious disorder that pushes the boundaries of reality and challenges our understanding of life and identity. But beyond the clinical description lies a profound story about the human psyche. A story of darkness and despair, yes, but also of resilience, hope, and transformation. Why does the mind create this ultimate paradox? What does it teach us about pain, denial, and the will to survive? And how can understanding Cotard's syndrome inspire us to overcome our own mental struggles, break free from self-imposed prisons, and embrace life with renewed purpose? In this video, we will unravel the mystery of Cotard's syndrome, exploring its neurological roots, psychological depths, and the powerful lessons it holds for anyone seeking to master their mind and their destiny. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change the way you see life, death, and the incredible strength within the human spirit. Cotard Syndrome, sometimes called walking corpse syndrome, is one of the most perplexing and haunting psychological conditions known to science. It is a rare disorder where individuals believe, with unshakable conviction, that they are dead, do not exist, or have lost their internal organs or blood. Imagine feeling as though you have ceased to exist, your mind convinced that your body is nothing more than a lifeless shell. This isn't simply feeling sad, disconnected, or numb. It is a profound detachment from reality that disrupts every facet of life. The syndrome is named after Jules Cotard, a 19th-century French neurologist who first described patients who believed they were immortals or, conversely, that they were dead. People suffering from Cotards may refuse to eat or care for themselves because they genuinely feel there's no life left within them. This leads to extreme physical deterioration, isolation, and even danger of death from neglect. What makes Cotard's syndrome so striking is its absolute certainty. Unlike fleeting thoughts or depressive feelings, this belief is firm and unyielding. The mind constructs a terrifying new reality, one where existence itself is denied. This condition often arises in the context of severe depression, psychosis, neurological disorders, or trauma. But its precise cause remains a mystery, a puzzle at the intersection of neurology and psychology. Cotard syndrome forces us to confront fundamental questions. What does it mean to exist? How much of our identity is tied to physical sensations and emotional connection? And what happens when those connections break? As we explore further, you'll learn not just about the disorder's symptoms, but the powerful psychological and motivational insights it offers, lessons about the mind's capacity for both destruction and renewal. In the next section, we'll delve into the neuroscience behind Cotard syndrome and uncover how brain dysfunction can twist perception into the illusion of death. To understand why some people believe they are already dead, we must look deep inside the brain, the organ that shapes our reality, identity, and sense of self. Cotard syndrome emerges from a mysterious disconnection between brain regions responsible for processing sensory input, emotional experience, and self-awareness. When these connections malfunction, the mind's map of existence becomes distorted, creating a terrifying illusion of non-existence. Studies using brain imaging have revealed abnormalities in the parietal lobe, the area responsible for integrating sensory information, and the limbic system, which governs emotion. When these systems fail to communicate effectively, the individual's awareness of their body and emotions fractures. Imagine standing in front of a mirror but seeing no reflection. The visual and emotional signals that confirm "I am alive" simply do not register. The brain fills this void with the conclusion, "I must be dead." This neurological glitch sheds light on the fragile nature of consciousness. how our sense of being alive depends on seamless integration of perception and feeling. From a dark psychology perspective, this disconnection is not just a mechanical failure. It represents the mind's ultimate withdrawal, a retreat from unbearable pain, trauma, or existential dread. Understanding the brain's role empowers us with insight. The mind's narratives, no matter how extreme, have roots in physiological realities. Healing, therefore, requires addressing both mind and brain through therapy, medication, and compassionate support. This knowledge also carries a message for personal growth. Our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are deeply intertwined. When one is off balance, it can distort the entire experience of reality. Recognizing this interconnectedness allows us to nurture holistic wellness, tuning our emotional, cognitive, and physical states in harmony. Next, we will explore the dark psychological forces at play, why the mind sometimes chooses denial of existence as a coping mechanism, and what that reveals about human resilience and vulnerability. Cotard Syndrome is not just a neurological anomaly. It is a window into the mind's darkest recesses, revealing how psychological pain and trauma can push the human spirit to the brink. From the perspective of dark psychology, the mind sometimes chooses the ultimate form of denial, rejecting existence itself, as a way to escape unbearable suffering. When reality becomes too painful, the psyche may construct a radical narrative: I am dead, I do not exist, or I am a shell without a soul. This self-imposed non-existence acts like a psychological shield, numbing the individual to trauma, depression, or overwhelming anxiety. In a twisted way, it is a defense mechanism, the mind's desperate bid for survival in a hostile inner landscape. This condition forces us to confront the profound connection between identity and pain. When the foundation of self collapses, the result is disintegration, a profound loss of meaning and purpose. Yet, even in this darkness, there is a spark of resilience. The very existence of Cotard's patients, their capacity to seek help and sometimes recover, speaks to the indomitable human will to live, to heal, and to reconnect. For anyone facing personal struggles, whether depression, anxiety, or trauma, understanding this syndrome offers a stark but powerful lesson. Denial and withdrawal, while sometimes protective, ultimately isolate and imprison the mind. True growth requires confronting pain, not escaping it. It demands courage to face the shadows within and the strength to reclaim existence on your own terms. In the next section, we will explore real-life stories of those who have battled Cotard Syndrome, stories of despair, hope, and extraordinary resilience that inspire us all. To truly understand the terrifying reality of Cotard Syndrome, we must listen to the stories of those who have lived through its grip. Stories that reveal not just despair, but also the strength of the human spirit. One notable case is that of a woman who, convinced she was dead, refused to eat, speak, or move. She described feeling like a ghost trapped inside her own body, watching the world go by without being a part of it. Her mind had erased her sense of self so completely, she believed she had no soul. Another story tells of a man who insisted that his organs had vanished and that he was slowly decaying inside. This belief led him into deep isolation, cutting ties with family and friends, convinced that he was no longer living among the living. These cases may seem distant or unbelievable, yet they illuminate the devastating power of the mind to shape reality, for better or worse. But within these stories, there is also hope. Many patients, through therapy, medication, and support, have reclaimed their sense of life. They have learned to reweave the shattered connections between perception and existence. These stories remind us that even in the darkest mental prisons, there is a door. The will to live, the desire for connection, and the search for meaning can break through the most impenetrable illusions. For all of us, these narratives serve as a metaphor. No matter how lost or disconnected we may feel, recovery and growth are possible. The mind's capacity for resilience is immense. As we continue, we will learn how to recognize the signs of Cotard Syndrome, knowledge that can empower us to help ourselves or others who may be trapped in this nightmare of non-existence. Cotard Syndrome is rare, but its signs are profound and unmistakable when you know what to look for. Recognizing these signs can mean the difference between despair and the beginning of healing. One of the hallmark symptoms is the unshakable belief of being dead or non-existent. Patients may insist that they have lost their organs, blood, or even their soul. This belief is often so strong that logical arguments or evidence cannot persuade them otherwise. Physical neglect is common. Since they believe they are no longer alive, patients may refuse to eat, bathe, or seek medical care, leading to severe health risks. Emotional detachment follows. Patients often describe feeling disconnected from their feelings, surroundings, and loved ones. This emotional numbness deepens the sense of isolation. Other signs include depression, anxiety, and psychosis, as the syndrome often coexists with or results from these conditions. Families and caregivers may notice sudden withdrawal, refusal to engage with life, or bizarre statements about non-existence. Early recognition is crucial. If you or someone you know exhibits these symptoms, professional help is essential. Intervention can restore connection, rebuild identity, and save lives. Understanding these signs also teaches us a deeper lesson about the human mind, how fragile our sense of self can be, and how vital emotional connection and meaning are to our existence. As we move forward, we'll explore the incredible power of belief, how our thoughts shape reality and identity, and how changing these beliefs can transform lives. Our beliefs are more than just ideas. They are the architects of our reality. The stories we tell ourselves shape how we see the world, how we feel, and ultimately, who we become. Cotard Syndrome is the extreme example of this principle, where a distorted belief, "I am dead," overrides every sensory input, emotional signal, and external fact. The mind's conviction is so strong that it creates a new reality, no matter how illogical it appears to others. This phenomenon reveals a profound truth. Belief is a force powerful enough to rewrite our experience of existence. For those on the path of personal growth, this insight offers a vital lesson. Your success, happiness, and identity are not just products of external circumstances, but are deeply influenced by the beliefs you hold. Negative or limiting beliefs can imprison you, creating mental prisons as real as Cotard's delusion is to its sufferers. But the reverse is also true. Empowering beliefs can free you, transforming your mind and your life. Dark psychology warns us that beliefs can be manipulated, by ourselves or others, to serve hidden agendas or to protect us from pain. Understanding this dynamic is key to regaining control over your thoughts and emotions. The journey toward mastery begins with questioning your beliefs. Are they true? Are they serving you? Are they grounded in reality or fear? By consciously shaping your beliefs, you can alter your perception, rewrite your identity, and unlock your potential. Next, we'll explore practical strategies to overcome mental prisons, cultivate empowering beliefs, and reclaim your life. Breaking free from the mental prison of distorted beliefs, whether as extreme as Cotard Syndrome or as subtle as everyday self-doubt, requires intentional strategies rooted in awareness, courage, and persistence. First, acknowledge the power of your thoughts. Recognize that your mind shapes your reality, but it can also mislead you. The act of acknowledgement is the first step toward taking control. Second, practice cognitive restructuring. This involves identifying harmful or false beliefs and deliberately replacing them with truths grounded in evidence and self-compassion. Techniques such as journaling, affirmations, and therapy can aid this process. Third, build a supportive environment. Surround yourself with people who uplift, challenge, and support your growth. Isolation feeds mental distortion. Connection fosters clarity. Fourth, embrace vulnerability and seek help. Whether through professional counseling, support groups, or trusted friends, sharing your struggles breaks the chains of secrecy and shame. Fifth, develop mindfulness and meditation practices. These help cultivate present moment awareness, allowing you to observe thoughts without becoming trapped by them. Sixth, set incremental goals. Small, achievable steps build momentum and rebuild confidence, vital for reclaiming agency over your life. Seventh, celebrate progress, not perfection. Healing and growth are non-linear. patience and kindness toward yourself accelerate transformation. By adopting these strategies, you reclaim your mind's power and restore your sense of life and self. Cotard Syndrome, while rare and extreme, holds universal lessons that no belief is unchangeable, and that even from the darkest illusions, you can emerge stronger and more alive. Next, we'll dive into personal growth. How embracing life after darkness leads to authentic transformation and lasting fulfillment. True personal growth often emerges from our darkest moments, when we confront the shadows within ourselves and choose to rise beyond them. Cotard Syndrome represents the ultimate confrontation with darkness, the feeling of being dead while still alive. For those who have faced this profound psychological void, embracing life again is a courageous act of reclamation. It requires not only healing the mind but rediscovering meaning, connection, and purpose. Growth begins with acceptance, accepting past pain, confusion, and the reality of struggle without judgment. This openness softens resistance and opens the door to transformation. Next comes forgiveness, forgiving oneself for perceived weaknesses or failures, and forgiving life for its unpredictability and hardship. Cultivating gratitude for even the smallest signs of life and progress shifts focus from loss to abundance. Building resilience through daily habits, meaningful relationships, and purposeful action strengthens the foundation for lasting change. Perhaps most importantly, embracing life after darkness means committing to a narrative of hope and empowerment. It means rewriting your story from one of despair to one of strength. This transformation isn't easy. It demands persistence, patience, and sometimes professional support. But the rewards, clarity, joy, and authentic selfhood, are priceless. Cotard Syndrome, while extreme, teaches us that no matter how far we fall, the human spirit is wired to survive and thrive. In the final section, we will tie these insights together and explore how to transform psychological challenges into stepping stones toward a meaningful, successful life. As we conclude this exploration of Cotard Syndrome, the haunting belief of being dead while alive, it's time to reflect on the profound lessons it offers beyond its rarity and strangeness. Cotard Syndrome pushes us to the edge of what it means to exist, challenging our most basic assumptions about identity, reality, and life itself. Yet, within this ultimate paradox lies a message of hope and transformation. The mind's capacity to create such powerful illusions reminds us of its immense power, to deceive, to protect, and ultimately, to heal. For anyone struggling with their own mental battles, Cotards teaches that even in the darkest moments, there is a pathway back to life. That through awareness, courage, and connection, you can reclaim your sense of self and purpose. Success is not about avoiding pain or illusion. It's about learning to navigate through them with resilience and grace. Your beliefs shape your reality, but you hold the pen. By rewriting your narrative, challenging your fears, and embracing vulnerability, you can turn psychological challenges into stepping stones toward a fulfilled, authentic life. Remember, life is not just about existing. It's about truly living. And even from the shadow of non-existence, you can rise into light, meaning, and success. Thank you for joining this journey. May it inspire you to face your own shadows, master your mind, and find purpose beyond every challenge.